Hi there, my name's Steve O'Brien. I'm the product reviewer for Sooty Park, and this afternoon I'll be reviewing the SRAM Force group set. Several things I like about the group set, several things that I'm happy to live with, and a few things that I don't like, so I'll be going through all those in detail. The brakes, they perform quite admirably. Not quite as solid on the lever compared to the old Ultegra brakes, but they certainly pull you up without any problems at all, so no difficulty at all with the brakes. The cassette is, one thing I do like about the cassette is that it's 100% compatible with Shimano. So you can run any Shimano 10-speed cassette or any of the SRAM Force or Rival cassettes. Yeah, one of the unique features about the cassette is that on the bottom 4 teeth, it has a missing tooth. That's to aid shifting. It looks a little bit unusual when you first see it, but when you're on the bike, riding the bike, you simply don't notice that you've got a few missing teeth. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is the crankset. Not quite as stiff as the Ultegra cranks. You sort of tend to notice it when you're doing low cadence, sort of high strength efforts, climbing up the hills. But certainly not a problem. Quite happy to live with the cranks as they are. Just with the carbon fibre cranks, just got to be a bit careful about knocking them on stairs and so forth when you're on and off the bike. The chain. Now, I must admit, I have had a few problems with the chain. I don't let the rain stop me when I'm going for a ride. And in fact, you know, often I am the bunch ride when the weather's pretty foul. So I don't mind riding in the rain, but I have had problems with the chain gritting up. So what's happened is when the wet weather, the foul weather brings all the grit off the road, it gets into the chain, and some of the links stiffen up. And what happens is that it stops. It doesn't roll smoothly through the derailleur, comes up over the cassette, and it starts to shift and jump. And it's caused me a few problems. In fact, it got to the point where on wet days, I'd often carry a bottle of wet lube in my back pocket, so that when that did happen, I could just get the wet lube out and loosen the chain up. Now, admittedly, I have had a problem with a Shimano chain once before, but not to the same extent I had with the SRAM chain. In fact, now I've taken the SRAM chain off, and this is a standard Shimano Dura-Ace chain. The next thing I'd like to talk about is probably the main point of interest with the SRAM Force group set, and that is the shifters. First of all, the ergonomics. Quite happy with the ergonomics. The Shimano hoods used to come up a little bit higher. These are probably a little bit more similar to Campag in terms of how they're shaped on the hand, but you get used to it very, very quickly. Ergonomics are good. The other thing I really like about the SRAM Force is, like Campagnolo, the cables are hidden inside the handlebar like this. So unlike the Shimano, where the shifter cable comes out here and it's flapping around in the wind, with the SRAM Force cable, it's actually tucked inside the handlebar tape inside there. But the only downside of that, as I've discovered, is that with the cable that comes on the outside, to really have it routed properly, you really need to have a double groove bar. So that's a bar with a groove on the inside and the outside. I had the cable running underneath and to the top there, but it caused a bulge in the handlebar tape, and it made it a little bit uncomfortable when putting the hand on the hood. So fine with double groove bars. Probably the most interesting thing about the SRAM Force group set is the shifting mechanism. This is the item that tends to cause the most discussion. It's similar to Campagnolo insofar as there's a small lever behind the main brake lever, and that's the lever that's responsible for the shifting. So the way it works is one click, and it actually does nothing until you either let it go, and if you let it go, then it will upshift into a taller gear, or if you get to that first click point and then push beyond it, that's when it downshifts into the easier gears. So the one lever does both your upshifting and the downshifting. The advantage is it's quite simple, and it means that the hoods are actually quite light. But one of the issues I find is that it's actually quite easy to make a misshift, so that if you're trying to find an easier gear and you get past the first click and you don't quite reach the second click, then let go, what happens is you end up downshifting instead of upshifting, and that can cause a little bit of a problem. I would have thought I'd get used to it by now because I've done 6,000 kilometres on the group set, but I still misshift. Most rides, 1 or 2 misshifts. Normally not a real problem because all you do is you go back up to where you wanted to go in the first place. But having said that, the shifting is crisp and precise. It really works quite well, apart from the issue of misshifting. That's pretty much all I'd like to say. So I hope you've enjoyed my review of the SRAM Force group set. Thank you.